Welcome to Private Club Radio, your weekly source for industry education, news and discussion. Broadcasting from Tampa, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, here is your host, Gabriel Aloisi.
Good morning. Great to have you here on Private Club Radio. We are chatting with Justin Baer of MemberText. He is the show's newest partner, and he's going to come on and talk to us about millennials and their technology habits. And we've started a new segment on this show. This will be the first ever installment of that segment called Tech Trends, presented by MemberText. And if you've listened to the show the last couple of weeks, you've heard me talk a little bit about MemberText, which I think is just a great platform. I think it's a much more effective way of reaching and engaging with your membership and with your team at the club. And I think you're going to enjoy this chat that I have with Justin because he has a number of great ideas for you to take back to your club and put into action. So without further ado, here is my chat with Justin Baer. Welcome to the inaugural edition of Tech Trends presented by MemberText. And we are joined today by founder Justin Baer of MemberText. Justin, how are you doing today, man?
Doing great, Gabe. Thank you so much for having me on. Congrats on the show. I hear a lot of my clients listen to it, so I'm really excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, so great to have you on. I want to talk to you today about millennials, and we're going to talk a little bit about their tech habits because they're a really peculiar generation to a lot of folks in the club industry. Let's first talk about what their expectations are in terms of technology, Justin.
So I think what's interesting about millennials is they grew up in this personalization kind of era where everything is personalized to them. When they log into Amazon, they see a homepage that's kind of built and personalized for them. And you kind of see these startups happening. So Blue Apron, where they send you individualized recipes for them, or Stitch Fix, where you have somebody curate clothing that's just for them. So it's this idea of being really personalized for them. And so when you're thinking about a club, it's like, how can we make our experiences personalized for them? They're not interested in, hey, I'm a guy, so I like everything. You know, it's just like one size fits all. They kind of want to drill down into, okay, I'm 38 and I have 2 kids, and they kind of want to have experiences and things happen with them that are kind of focused just for them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, for instance, I've got a Netflix account, and it's so nice to have it pop up with my specific recommendations based on what I've watched before. And I think that's really pervasive. What are some ways that millennials are having those expectations in terms of the club experience?
So one example I've seen a lot of clubs start doing is, obviously you have men's guest day, and usually there's just like one big men's guest day. Well, now I'm seeing clubs do a young member men's guest day. And I think that, you know, the clothing that they buy, the gifts they give out are more personalized, maybe a little bit more fun than, you know, what you give somebody that's 75 versus the take-home gift of somebody that's 32 is going to be different. And so just being able to have that personalization kind of just really, I think, excites millennials in a way that is different than years ago.
Yeah, I think they just want to feel like it's made for them, which is that's a perfect example of that. Now, this is the first generation that grew up with cell phones. Why is that so important, Justin?
So it's pretty amazing that this is the cell phone generation. So I think a couple of things when it comes to cell phones. One is the way they communicate. So we know millennials don't barely communicate in person anymore. They don't want to talk on the phone. They really just want to have digital conversations. And the way they're communicating now is via text message. So obviously being able to text message the club, which we have a kind of a new feature where we're able to do that, where we enable the club's landline number, or I actually did this past week where we enabled the pro shop's landline number. So people can actually text the pro shop, hey, is it car pass only? I saw we got a lot of rain. And the pro shop loves it because it cuts down on the number of calls coming in. And the members love it because it's so convenient. They can do it while they're in a meeting. They could do it while they're on a conference call or at their desk or in their cubicle without disturbing anybody. So I think that's kind of really interesting. I think the other point for this kind of cell phone generation is that they're kind of self-reliant, right? So I know most clubs now, of course, you can book a tea time. You know, they want to be self-reliant. They've been able to do it themselves, at least at a first crack. So they can book a tea time online. They can book a dinner reservation. And I know, obviously, most of the platforms now offer that. But I think those two things, kind of that speed of service, that self-reliance, I think are two really big features that millennials are looking for.
Yeah, and they're moving away from email, as you said. I mean, I know in the workplace, they're using other tools. Talk to us about some of those tools that they're using.
Yeah, so I think the fastest growing startup right now is called Slack, and pretty much every single company in the country, if they don't have it, they're looking at it, which is basically like a business internal Skype, if you want to think about it. So it's called Slack. They actually just went public, and millennials don't even use email anymore, right? Because they're just using Slack, at least for their internal conversations. Obviously, with outbound with customers, they are, although they're starting to even text customers. But, Slack, I think, is something and an awesome tool that I think every general manager should be looking out there to communicate just internally with all the staff, and you're able to create different channels. So just as an example, if you were redoing the putting green, as an example, let's say you're completely redoing the putting green. Well, there's obviously stakeholders involved. There's the architect, there's the director of golf, there's the general manager, there's the contractor. You can create a Slack channel just for everybody that's involved in that one project, and you can post all your images and communicate just in that channel. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it comes down to, I think email is, it's not dead, but I think the effectiveness has dramatically gone down, and it's now 25 or 30 years old. So that's what you should be texting too.
It's kind of like going the way of the fax machine in a way, not quite that rapidly, but it's definitely doing that. I mean, I've got a client I know up in New Jersey. It's a club, and this club, they were sending emails to prospects that filled out like our website forms that we were driving some leads to, and they were having really, really poor success. Like, people just weren't opening these emails and responding. And so I asked him, I was like, we're asking for these people's phone numbers. Have you actually gone out and either called or texted these people, and specifically texted? And they said, no, we haven't. So the next lead that came in about 2 hours later, a new lead popped in, and I just went ahead and texted that person immediately, like, hey, thank you for your interest in XYZ Club. Would you be interested in coming in for a tour or possibly a preview round? And we started this conversation back and forth, and boom, next thing you know, they're walking in the door. So email didn't work, but text did. And I'm seeing that quite a bit. So you're right on with that. Now, the other thing that's really important to millennials is just being notified. Give us an example of how that works and why text can do that so much more effectively.
Yeah, I think with communication, everyone has adapted, maybe I should say, to this idea that we need to know the news now, right? There's 24-hour news. We can get the news on our palm or our hands. If something happens, I want to know about it. I always use this example, like when you push back from the tarmac in a plane and the air conditioning shuts off and you're like 10 feet from the gate. They're not going back, and you're just sitting there. All people want to know is they just want to know what happens. Tell me what's going on. I understand things break down, no problem. Just give me a heads up on what's going on. I want the pilot to come on and tell me. And so when you have disruptions, which happen all the time at clubs, members just want to know. And kind of one of the best ways you can get that information out there is to text them. So texts have a 98% open rate, and they're read within 3 minutes. So you could send an email out. Actually, this past weekend for the holiday, one of my clients had a code brown in the pool, and
oh no,
they had to shut. Yeah, they had to shut the pool down. Well, if you send an email out, yeah, maybe you get 30, 40, 50% open rates on an email, but that could take like 5 days. It's not like they're read within 5 minutes.
Right.
That's what you need. You need people to kind of know that they've seen it, so that when the whole family shows up and the grandparents show up with all their pool stuff, you don't have to turn them away. Be like, oh, you didn't get the email? They're like, no, I didn't get the email. I got 3,000. So the texting feature is really cool. And going with what you were saying before about the membership director texting back prospects, so kind of a new feature we just turned on is we can actually enable the membership director's landline number, so they don't have to use their personal cell phone.
Cool.
We can enable the landline number, and they can text right from that. Obviously, they do it from their computer with a little login, but that way they can communicate with potential prospects and not have to worry about blowing up their personal cell phone.
That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just, especially with this generation, just an instant gratification, instantaneous wants and needs that need to be fulfilled. And I definitely see text as the way to do that. And that's why I'm always excited to have you come on the show and talk about your platform. So for folks who don't know much about MemberText, give us some basic information about the platform and how it can help clubs out there.
Yeah, so the platform is super simple. We're the leading text messaging platform for golf and country clubs. That's the only people we work with. Obviously, yacht clubs, and I'm going to lump city clubs in there as well. But the idea is kind of what we were talking about before. Just email is not what it used to be. We're not seeing the same open rates that we got 2 years ago, 5 years ago for sure. And the text, it's so simple. It takes 60 seconds to rate. You can put images in there. You shoot a text out. You know the whole club's seen it, and they've seen it within 3 minutes. Super easy to set up as well. It's inexpensive. It's like pennies a person. Our plans start, really like $99 a month. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool. If you're interested in checking it out, go to membertext.net. So it's membertext.net, or they can always call me too, 410-935-1999. That's 410-935-1999. They can call, and of course, you can text me too.
Yeah, you better be able to.
A link back, and and you can we can book a time or a demo and put your team on there. But it's a really cool platform. Whether you want to increase your participation, get more people out to the club, let them know about disruptions and weather-related issues, and I know we've got hurricane season coming up. It's a really nice little tool and asset.
Yeah, I had a friend the other day who sent me a tweet. Actually, he's a millennial, and he asked me about MemberText because I had tweeted about it. And he said, well, what's the pricing? And I said, it's no-brainer pricing. Like, it's like,
right,
you got to have it, and don't even ask what the pricing is because it's so affordable. It should be criminal. So,
exactly. Well, I always say when I was at the conference in February, I said, your members are stealing more teas from you than this is going to cost. That I promise you.
Yeah,
so they're taking
a week's worth of towels.
More towels.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think they just posted the notice in my club: 1,500 more are gone. I don't know who is hoarding these towels. It's crazy. Anyways, it's probably not the millennials, but I appreciate you coming on, Justin, to talk about millennials and their tech habits. And I hope a lot of clubs will wake up to the fact that it's time to communicate to that generation in a new way. So thanks so much for providing the information. It's great to have you here on Tech Trends.
Of course. Thanks so much, Gabe.
So that's a little taste of what you'll be hearing each month with Tech Trends. We're going to cover a lot of topics that I think you're going to find intriguing, and Justin brings a lot of value to the show. I'm really happy to have him as a partner of Private Club Radio. I hope you have a wonderful and productive week of your own. I'll catch you back here next week, and until then, here's to your membership success.
Private Club Radio is brought to you by Concert Golf Partners, helping to preserve and enhance private golf and country clubs. Concert Golf has the capital, expertise, and private club hospitality experience to help upscale private clubs achieving long-term success and membership growth. For 25 years, Concert Golf has allowed private club members to focus on simply enjoying their club. Visit concertgolfpartners.com to learn more about the recapitalization process.